What's going on, guys? We're going to be installing some flush-mounted reverse lights, which can be used for really any vehicle. It's not just Ram specific. This is just kind of like a DIY how-to video on how to flush mount reverse LED lights into your bumper, metal or plastic.
So these are the lights we're working with here. Got these off of Amazon. We'll have the link in the description. But these were like 15 bucks for a set, and pretty much all you got to do is cut a hole in the bumper. We're going to do about right here so that these fit perfectly into the hole. Flush mount, and you just drill 2 holes to allow these 2 things to sit in perfectly and bolt it so it stays nice and secure for you. And then we'll show you how to do the wiring for that stuff, and then we'll give you a little demo of what they look like. So you guys might be asking why I'm doing more reverse lights, because I already got the 2 6-inch bars up there. But well, one is because those are not wired to my actual reverse lights, so they're not going to turn on automatically, which that's what I want these to do. And since these are lower, it's legal. If you having those up there, I'm going to blind everyone and burn their eyes out every time I throw my truck in reverse at nighttime. So that's why we're doing this too, because also with those on, it leaves an absolutely huge shadow that the bed creates. So this is going to help get rid of that. But this is going to make backing up at nighttime and also working at night a lot easier.
All right, guys, we're going to show you some of the stuff you need to use for this, some of the tools you might need. So we have an angle grinder with a cutting disc. Probably not going to need the flap disc, just a cutting disc. Tape measure, some wire, tape. You got the mounting hardware, and then a light if we need it. And a drill. And a reciprocating saw. All right, guys, what you're going to want to do next is to figure out where you want to put the lights. We're going to try to mount ours somewhere like right about here. It's super simple to get to the back inside of the bumper.
Something to remember when you're doing this is you see how my exhaust tips are right here. That gives off a lot of heat, so you want to be careful with the wiring. You don't want excess wiring landing on that, so when you do it, you got to kind of look for something that you can tie the wiring off to. But the way it's looking, it's probably going to sit right about here. So these things are about 7.5 inches wide, so we're just going to have to find a certain point so that they look even on both sides. We're going to measure from like 2 points, and then start drawing out our shape with some tape, and then we're going to start cutting. Okay, so we measured from, you see, when we make the hole, we can't make it bigger than this whole bracket, obviously. So we're making it just the size of the extruding light. So when we measured this, we got about 6 1/4, and that's going to be a little tight. So the whole point is we'd rather make it tight, and then we can grind it a little bigger if we have to. Because if you can see, the difference from that hole and the edge of this is very, very small. So if you make it too big, your hole's not going to line for the bolts. It's going to mess the whole thing up. So we did that, and we measured 6 1/4 and marked the tape. We measured over 3 inches from this lip right here, so they are going to be symmetrical on both sides. And then we did 6 1/4 right here. We're marking with tape, and now we just got to do our height the same way.
And if you don't make the hole the correct size, it needs to be very precise, because if the hole's too big, then the bolt that you're using to hold it in won't have any metal to go through. You need to leave metal for the bolts to go through, but also to take away enough metal for the light to go through.
All right, guys, so we just taped out what we're going to cut out, so this whole black part's coming out. Pretty much what you do is you measure this part here. You don't want to measure the actual full size of it, or obviously the whole thing's going to fall through. So it just works because it's a flush mount, so the whole point is this has to catch it. So you just got to make sure you measure this here to here and this edge to this edge. Obviously, we're making it a little bit small so that if we have to, we just take the grinder and grind the edges a little bigger so it fits, because I'd rather it be smaller and take more out than it be way too big and ruin my bumper, because this is the stock bumper and I'm not trying to get rid of it. Alright, so next is just take your old angle grinder here, plug her in, make sure she runs. Also, a big thing is make sure your disc isn't broken, because then that thing's going to shatter and kill you. I had a bad experience with one of these once. I got like a 7-inch scar on my chest to prove it. I'm not showing you. It's just weird. So here we're going to start destroying and ruining my nice stock bumper on my truck. We're going to follow the line. Alright, we got a majority of our metal out. We now have a throwing star, so dispose it properly. I just put a hole in my wall.
All right, guys, so we've got the hole pretty much cut out. It's very cleanly cut, as you can see. We have no jagged edges whatsoever.
Let's relax.
So we're gonna clean it up with a reciprocating saw.
Well, we got this thing pretty cut out as clean as we can, and then we're pretty much just gonna take the grinding disc for this and just grind these back down so they're pretty much flush with the tape. And after we do that, we'll see if the light fits, and we may have to grind more. She is right there.
Remember when you're doing this, you can always take material away, but you can't add material. So take your time and keep trying to put it in, shaving a little bit away, and then putting it in again.
Oh my goodness. Well, we got her in. She fits flush.
Thing you want to keep in mind, guys, is bare metal. Since we cut into the bumper, we have a lot of exposed metal, like right where the cutting edge is, like right along there. So we're just gonna take some Rust-Oleum and just kind of cover it with black paint, just to prevent rust. You just want to cover all the exposed metal.
So we'll just give that a second to dry, and then we're gonna move on to the next side. All right, so we got the light in. Move your hand, Andy. So we got the light in, flush, looks good. Now we're just gonna drill the holes for the bolts on each side. So let Andy drill into my bumper. All right, now we'll. It's kind of hard to see because of the light, but we got a little hole started. And now we're gonna finish the drill. Boom. Can I see this? Oh. Got our holes drilled.
And just tighten up the bolts until they're flush.
Bumper.
All right, guys, this is pretty much what it looks like done. Looks really good.
So all we gotta do left is we gotta just cut and install the other side, and then we're gonna go underneath, grab our wiring coming off the light. We're gonna hook them up to the stock reverse lights of the truck itself, so that these things turn on when I put my truck in reverse, and we'll be good to go. All right, well, they're both installed, and now it's time to do some wiring. So if you want to just take a quick look, look pretty good. We got them as close to symmetrical as we could. And now it's time to get these bad boys all wired up. All right, guys, so now to wiring our lights up. So what you want to do is you want to remove your tail light. There's two screws that go right here. You can look on the other one over there that's still on. You see those two screws? So pretty much just remove those with a Torx bit. It looks like a star bit pretty much. Look at this. You take those two screws out, the whole thing just pops out super easy. Now I have a backup camera already wired to my reverse lights, so that allows the backup camera to turn on when my truck goes in reverse. So what I'm also gonna do is I'm gonna splice into this wire too for the lights. Now you can see right here I have a ground that I have set up, so I'm gonna use this ground as well. Literally just metal tapped a metal tapping screw right into the body, and I'm just going to ground both the lights there as well. So, pretty much just wrapping the ground wire around this screw that's been existing, just to clamp it on there. All right, she's set, and then we got the red wire, which I've already stripped it, and I got to just cut this one and strip this one, and then splice it right into this other reverse wire. Here, boom. Just want to strip both sides, right? And then take your red wire, you're gonna twist it to Probably this side, because this side's the longest, so it'll be a little easier. Twist those two together. Come to this side, you're going to twist this side together, and then you put some solder on there. Now, I'm no master solderer, but I just get some solder on the tip of the soldering iron, which you can see my tip is actually broken off, so it's flat, but it makes it a little easier for me. And I just throw this stuff on here, cover both sides as best I can.
We know this isn't the correct way to do it, but it works. So
Yeah. So you see I got those soldered together. What I'm going to do is just run some wire and I'm going to test it before we get it all tucked away and just make sure I'm getting enough power. Fired up, we just ran the wires down the side and just quickly twisted them onto the light to see if it actually works. So, yo Andy, throw it in reverse. Boom, she works. So that's one of them. So we just twisted them together. We're gonna end up splicing off another line to go to the other light from that light, and then we're gonna get them soldered up. We're gonna put some shrink wrap tubing on it so it's all watertight and all good. We'll get this wire tucked away and it'll be all nice and ready to go.
yeah.
What we're doing here is I'm twisting the positive coming from the brake, the tail light, to the positive of this light, and then the negative as well. So this will be one side of the splice. So now we got that. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to run new wire right here. And the first thing I want to do is I want to slide on a shrink wrap tube. Do that on each one. So this one's positive. So then once I do that, I'm going to take these two, and not this way, but this way, wrap them around each other like that. So you get one line. And then what you're going to do from there is now you come here with solder. Not have your leg right below it because it burns. But if you don't have solder, you can always just get crimp connectors. They work too. I don't trust them as much. Like if they get pulled or something, they might pull out. But these really shouldn't be getting pulled at all. So once you get it on, just let it cool for a second, and then slide your tube open over. You might have to compress it a little bit to get the tube over it. Push it over. Push it up a little bit of the ways so it's covering the majority of the way. Take some flame, heat gun, whatever you got. Bic lighter works good. Just go up and get that thing to shrink down, get all nice waterproof. Now you got a nice watertight connection. And I'll do the same thing with the ground wire. Run the next wire over to the other side, connect to the other light, tuck our wiring up, get it fast tight out of the way so it's not touching exhaust pipes and whatnot, and we are set to go. Alright guys, that is it for this video. You can see right here, go ahead and turn them on, Andy. We got our reverse lights installed. They are super bright and wired right to the factory reverse lights. So that's it for this video. Coming soon to the next video, we're going to be doing bed lights. So they're going to run on the side of the bed and they're going to light up the whole bed. Those are going to be powered off of the cargo lamp, which is up on the third brake light. You see Andy just turn that on right there. Go ahead and turn that off. Perfect. So those will be wired to that light, as well as we're going to wire in some toolbox lights that'll be in the inside of the toolbox. After we do that video, we're going to be doing another video on, we're going to be running marker lights. So it'll be an orange marker, it'll be 4 of them going along the rocker panels of the truck right here, and then we're probably going to put, I got 2 extras, so we're probably going to throw one on each side of the toolbox, just to give her a little extra. Well, that's it for this video, guys. I hope you liked it, and it gives you any good ideas, shows you what to do, hopefully not what not to do, but feel free to like and subscribe, and stay tuned for some future videos.